My name's Israel Anderson, and most of you probably know who I am. I'm going to give you just a couple of seconds here of my background, but I was born in New Zealand, and I immigrated here 11 years ago. And living in the United States led me on a very interesting journey. I discovered Ron Paul in June of 2007, ended up working on Ron Paul's presidential campaign in a very serious way in 2007-8, led a musical tour all around the country back then with Mark Sibilia, created the Ron Paul Video podcast, done a bunch of things. And then in 2011-12, that morphed into Ron Paul Flex, and that's where most of you probably know me from. And I've been working with the Ron Paul family, or members of the Ron Paul family, ever since, especially Ronnie Paul, Ron Paul's older son. We're actually business partners. We're in business together, and we'll talk about some of our business relationship later on too. Not in this recording. I don't know, what is this, a recording, a podcast? I'm going to be doing a podcast. It's going to end up being almost daily. But I did find through audio is a very quick and easy way for me to reach you. And most ways of creating content take way too long, and you lose the creative aspect. So I don't have a script. I've got 7 lines or 7 little words here just to keep my train of thought, basically. And I'm going to bring you more of these probably on a near daily basis in addition to the podcast. I didn't become a libertarian when I discovered Ron Paul. I've always been a libertarian. I was a very rebellious kid. I'm a high school dropout. I have no education past the American equivalent of the 7th grade, so 12 years old. I did go on to Bible college and did 6 months of Bible college before they asked me to leave. Just didn't fit in there very well, but spent the majority of my life, though, in Christian ministry, built a podcasting site, ended up being the largest, most popular Christian podcasting site. It's long gone now. I abandoned that many years ago. But liberty for me is something that's very real and practical. It's not just philosophical. And the philosophy is great, but there are much better people out there in the liberty movement than I that are better at the philosophy, right? We know who they are. People like Jeffrey Tucker, Tom Woods, and just so many that really are, the prophets of the liberty movement, the people that understand the philosophy. That's not me. I'm more of a practical person. For me, it's about a practical outworking of liberty in my own life. I came up with my own mantra some months ago that is simply this: the greatest level of liberty for the maximum number of people. That's how I describe my activism. That's what my life is all about. Everything that I want to do on this page and for you in creating content and adding value to your life will revolve around this process of bringing a greater level of liberty to your lives and to as many people as humanly possible through this medium. That comes with an interesting dilemma. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've actually not been an employee since I was 21 years old. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I formed my 10th company just about 5 weeks ago. And with Trump as the new president in a couple of days, it's exciting to me to step up my entrepreneurship to a new level. I'm about to move into manufacturing, which is something I've never done before. I'm very, very excited about. But in the meantime, bringing in an income so that I can do research and I can write the books that I want to write about this practical outworking of liberty and about consciousness and how the brain works and how we can take control of our lives and bring true liberty to our lives. And self-awareness is what liberty is truly all about. A person in a prison cell that is self-aware, that is conscious, has far more liberty than somebody who is roaming the streets outside that jail. And for some people that can sound like, well, that's nonsense, that the person outside is freer. We will cover stuff like this in great detail. We'll really get deep into this whole idea of consciousness and self-awareness and understanding our mind and our ego and how we can begin to master our ego and not have our ego mastering us. So in creating all this content, I need a way to create income. And I want to do some unique ways to do that. One of them, as you can see here, is first of all to bring engagement to the page. And we started off with giving these prizes away each week. I mean, people have won some pretty amazing prizes already. And this week we have one of my great friends, Austin Grosier, who worked on Ron Paul's presidential campaign in 2011-12. Serious libertarian. He started 2 companies. The guy is 21 years old. And Big Dipper is his first company. His second one is Nitrology, which is a fantastic name, well done, where he creates, they have a food truck and they actually create ice cream from scratch, literally from scratch, putting the ingredients together, pouring in liquid nitrogen, and then serving you this delicious ice cream. It's fascinating. I've already done an interview with him. You'll be hearing that interview really soon on the podcast. Well, he's giving away 6 pints of this edible, fully, completely safe, edible cookie dough, and just for engaging on the page, right? And if you've got a product or service that you'd like to give away, and it's going to be really good value to my readers, my listeners, then reach out to me and let me know what it is, and I'll let you know how that works. So, my philosophy, if you've ever followed somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk, Richard Branson, it's always about adding value, right? And so what you're going to see here on this page is a constant delivery of fresh content and fresh value into your life, because that is the only way that I can merit the exchange, the ask, the engagement. And I take that very seriously. So now let me change pace a little. I want to talk just briefly, and then we're going to tie this recording up, about Donald Trump. So on my personal profile, not so much here on the page, for starting at about 14 months ago, I started talking about Donald Trump. Now, I quickly got a reputation for being the Donald Trump supporter in the liberty movement, but actually, I only came out supporting Donald Trump 5 weeks before the election. But what I was doing was analyzing and talking about Donald Trump for quite some time before that. As somebody that's been a serial entrepreneur, I've read Donald Trump's books. I've read the same books that he has, and I've got a good idea of how his mind works. That's how so early on, right when he actually stepped into the race, I predicted that he would end up being the 45th president of the United States, and in 2 days' time that will be so. And I don't say that to boast, but this is a direction that I want to be speaking towards. I want to be analyzing what Donald Trump is doing, because I have proven that I have a great deal of clarity in this area. And every single last cotton-picking thing that I said he would do, he has done and doing right now. And again, I don't mean to boast, but when you look at the liberty movement, there's so many people, some that are just rabidly in love with Donald Trump, and that's certainly not me. And then there's some that are absolutely opposed to Donald Trump, and that's not me neither. I want to be in the middle. I want to be somebody that calls out and gives credit for what is good, gives credit where credit is due. And I want to be somebody that calls him out on the bullshit when he wants to do things that are absolutely against the ideas of liberty and freedom. And I will not carry the water for Donald Trump. I will not. Saying that, and I posted something the other day, and I've been saying this for, some months now, and I'm going to ramp up this term and use it more and more. Because what we are witnessing here with Donald Trump's presidency, whether you believe me right now or not, is the second American Revolution. It's very different to the first one. It's not a bunch of people sacrificing their own lives and taking up arms to overthrow the oppressor. This is a very different way, not better or worse. This is just different. It's a different way of overthrowing our oppressor. There's a lot of people that still think this is just a guy taking advantage of his position of power to enrich his own pockets and all these kinds of things. as somebody that has been accurate with Donald Trump, I'll say what he is doing right here is an overthrow, a coup d'etat through an election process of the United States government. And as libertarians, we should be all over this. We should be all over this like flies on a carcass. I mean, this is a disruption to the status quo. I mean, here is Donald Trump calling out John Brennan, the head of the CIA, the head of the secret government, calling out on Twitter John Brennan for his complete inadequacy in the job, and possibly even leaking, being the source of the leaks to the media. This came about because Donald Trump had a meeting with him at Trump Tower, and Trump organized this meeting one-on-one with him, and Trump never told anybody. And so supposedly the only two people that knew was John Brennan and Donald Trump, and yet it leaked to the media. And there's more to it than that. What we are witnessing here is a man that has so much care and concern for his country, a man that learned the ropes to be able to be this huge commercial developer of property and real estate all over the world, has learned all the loopholes and how governments create this bureaucracy to stifle innovation and capitalism. And yet he won. And now he wants to set it all free. And I know some of you just think that I'm wrong, that I'm loony, that I don't know what I'm talking about. Then, all I can say to that is, well, I got everything right so far, and that's what people were saying then too. So let's wait and see what happens, but I know I'm going to be correct in this. This country, the United States of America, is going to once again be the shining star on planet Earth. And this doesn't have to be about nationalism. This is about the personal pride that Donald Trump is going to raise up within the American psyche, within the American spirit. The spirit of entrepreneurship in this country is going to thrive again. Mom and pop shops are going to be able to have those regulations radically reduced, the taxation burden radically reduced. It's going to be much easier to hire people to start things, and you're once again going to see the wheels, the machinery of this once vibrant economy rocking and rolling again. Now, if you are 40 and younger, you've never lived in an America that has been prosperous. You don't know what it's like. Of course, that includes me. I've never lived here and it's been prosperous neither. But I'm a lover of history. And when you look back at America's, history, when you look back at the 50s and 60s, you look at the boom times. And, sometimes people want to paint those as bubbles, but they're not always bubbles. A lot of the time it was simply because Americans had this spirit of innovation and a passion for entrepreneurship and this go-get-'em spirit, and they did shit and they made things happen. And those times are returning to the United States of America. And I want to encourage you, don't just consider being an employee. I haven't been an employee since I was 21 years old. Employeedom sucks, right? As an employer, let me assure you, we only employ people when it benefits us. If you want to be somebody of wealth and means and not struggling and not have all this debt, you've got to look at entrepreneurship in one way or another. You've got to. Donald Trump is going to bring a revival of business and commerce and success to the United States of America. And I'm going to bring some of that to this channel. It's not everything here. Everything right now seems to be a bit Donald Trumpish because, we're right in the midst of being sworn in and this whole election and everything. It's not going to remain that way, but we will still, spend time on looking at what he's doing and that kind of a thing. It's not going to go away altogether. But I give you my word, this is the Second American Revolution. This is an overthrow of tyranny. And those libertarians, the vast majority, who right now are sitting back and probably listening to me with, cussing under their breath, I suggest you wake up, because you'll post things like I'm WAF, man, I'm woke as fuck, and it's like you're asleep at the wheel. You don't have any idea what's actually going on to your own country. And here is an immigrant from New Zealand that saw this and predicted this and has been accurate. And I'm telling you now, your country is about to go through the most successful period of its entire existence. And if libertarians don't get a hold of what is about to happen, you're going to tarnish the idea of liberty in this country in the way that we want it to be, in the full flux of libertarianism. We're going to miss an opportunity here. If you are not prepared, like I am, to give credit where credit is due to Donald Trump and to call him out on the BS when it comes along, because it will, then you're going to miss an opportunity to be an influencer, to be a spokesperson. So I urge you, I really, really strongly urge you, reconsider your cynicism, your skepticism of Donald Trump. Open your eyes and see what is actually going on here. Donald Trump is overthrowing tyranny, and you're not giving him the credit that he deserves. So watch what happens, and as quickly as possible, jump on board with us. We have an opportunity here to start showing the world, hey, you see what Donald Trump is doing right here? This is what liberty is about. And we should be jumping in and explaining this here that Donald Trump is doing lines up with our philosophy of liberty. Let me show you how. And, we're good at going on the attack when Obama or Bush did something that is against the philosophy of liberty, but we're not so good at giving credit where credit is due. I really encourage you, put the cynicism aside. Just let it go. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm going to keep these nice and short and sweet. And, please share this if you think there's somebody that should get some value from it. And thank you so much for your time. I really honor it tonight. And I will endeavor to do these every single day. I'm not sure how we'll go. But here's the first one. Hope you liked it. Leave your questions and comments below. And remember, you can win great rewards just because you engage here. And the best way to win the engagement prize is to leave comments. Good comments that encourage further engagement, right? So that's my goal. That's what you're going to be rewarded for. So have a great night. Thank you for listening. Love you all so much. Take care. Bye-bye.